I love Don't Stop Me Now. And I always joke that, like, you know, in hindsight, perhaps someone should have stopped Freddie Mercury.
Ouch.
And I know I said that on Timcast. A bunch of people laughed. Like, the people here started laughing, and I was like,
But yeah, of course they would. Yeah, they should have stopped him. It's pretty wild how he got taken down by AIDS. Matt Walsh, I regret to inform you that they canceled Queen's story is just a boomer bait Fox News fake controversy. All they did was leave fat bottom girls off an audio platform specifically designed for young children. Seems like a reasonable decision. Nobody has been canceled. Why is it that not the thing, but another thing, you know, if publisher is like no more racist thing, you're like, ah, that's cancel culture. We have the culture war of the day. I'm gonna make an intro for this, because like none of these will do justice. So if I talked about like, hey, how about this one? No, it's not really related to this one. You know, what about this? Like, it's just every single day there's a new culture war that drops, and then once it drops, it just trickles down to every fucking right-wing pundit who's like, hey, here's how we're gonna distract you today. Yeah, you having a tough time? I certainly am. It's really hard working 2 app economy jobs because they don't offer me any dependable health care, and at times they really take advantage of me by passing all the costs off onto the workers. It really sucks if I'm driving Uber on a regular basis and you know, all the repair costs come down to me, and yet you know, you're taking a large cut of the amount of money I would be making. So that kind of like, no, don't worry about that. That's just a little side note. What really is affecting your life, what's causing trouble for you, is Queen getting canceled. That's right. They're taking away Fat Bottom Girls. Fat Bottom Girls is no longer going to be a track on the greatest hit album. Yeah, it's going to be acceptable frame bottom girls. That's the future.
and outrage that Queen's classic song Fat Bottomed Girl
Classic song. Why are you talking like that? Whoopsie.
would be dropped from their greatest hits collection
Emily, 6218, thank you for the tier 1. Appreciate.
for younger audiences. Fat Bottomed Girls is an epic tale. They make the rockin' world go round, baby. How could they remove it from a children's playlist? Yeah, I don't get this one, but we'll talk about it. A bunch of people apparently didn't read the news. They're upset that there's
Blue Terry Teddy, thank you. I appreciate it.
this greatest hit album's coming out to a thing called Yoto Player, which is for small children between the ages
I precogged. Yes, you successfully precogged. Good precoggage.
of 0 and 9, and they removed the song Fat Bottomed Girls. And I'm like, I am completely okay with them removing the song Fat Bottomed Girls from a children's song list.
Wow. Hey, this one didn't catch them all. Didn't catch Tim Pool. Didn't catch Matt Walsh either. Notice Matt Walsh was pretty fast to be like, whoa, comrades, hold on, I say. No, this is boomer tier. Boomer tier, we mustn't get this mad about this one. Come on, no, we have important things to do. Go, destroy Bud Light, we must continue to take them down. But this one is to distract us. It's on a children's album.
To be completely honest, though, I like the idea of introducing Queen to a younger generation, but I mean, are they going to have Bohemian Rhapsody on that children's player? Mama just killed a man, put a gun up to his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Goodbye, everybody, I've got to go. Okay, I'm just like...
That was like the Ben Shapiro style reading of Queen, eh? It's like, Mama just killed a man, put a G word up to his head, pulled the trigger, now he's D word.
Did they? I gotta know. Is Bohemian Rhapsody on this list? Here's the Yodo player. Why Yodo? Here's the news. Rock royalty shop Queen now, and basically the Yodo player is this little box. Can I play this? Is it gonna play or is it gonna give me the business? Whoa, that's very loud. Let's turn that down. So this is the Yodo player. It says it's this little box, the speaker for children, for very small kids, and they have cards. And the cards, they can pop in, and then it will play stories, books, music, or whatever.
Oh man, if I was a kid, I'd probably want that so bad.
It's actually a pretty cool little thing. It's got a little clock on the front. I'm sorry. I mean, I got no issue with them taking fat bottom girls off of this. Let me see. It has it's got Bohemian Rhapsody on there. I'm just that's where things get interesting. Okay, look, I think
Just curious, chat. What's your favorite Queen song? Both chats. No chat is superior right now. Okay, the Serfs.tv and Twitch. What's your favorite Queen? Just out of curiosity, I wanted to see where one lands. If someone's gonna list like a B-side track, I think you're just trying to flex. Under Pressure. Under Pressure is a half Queen song, right? Bohemian Rhapsody, my favorite song of all time. It is fucking an unbelievable song. Fat Bottom Girls, Don't Stop Me Now. Bicycle. 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 Queen is too boomer for me. Fair enough. Fair enough. The Zoomers don't want the Queen. The Highlander theme? Good pick. Yeah. Do we want to live forever? No, I can't. I'm not even gonna fucking front as if I could ever hit that. Radio Gaga is great. Yeah. Yeah. Killer Queen. Bicycle. A lot of bicycles. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. Killer Queen is a bop for sure. Whatever triggers Tim Pool the most. I was waiting for the right answer. Finally, someone got there. Thank you. That is the correct answer.
Bohemian, Somebody to Love. That's a good one. Man, I love Queen. We Will Rock You. We Are the Champions. I Paid My Dues. So good. Such good stuff. You're My Best Friend. Killer Queen. Oh, man. But
yeah, Flash. Flash is great, too. Flash.
Look. I guess removing fat bottom girls or whatever. But I just want to point out there's like lyrics in a lot of these songs that maybe you don't want your kids listening to.
Wait, I don't get it. Are you against it or are you for it? Are you for the cancellation that is occurring, the right freaking out about it? Because the right, a lot of them didn't go the extra step that clearly Tim Pool and Matt Walsh did, surprisingly, of all people, by the way. Baloney Tonga, thank you for the prime. Appreciate you. But yeah, there was a lot of people this morning, because every day you wake up, you go on the Twitter, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they've picked their culture war. They picked the thing. Oh, it's Dr. Seuss. Yep, they're mad at the publishing house deciding to publish less Dr. Seuss books because they don't want to. Even though that is a private corporation, don't they have the right to do what they want? I guess not in this case. So yeah, okay, Dr. Seuss has been canceled, everybody. And here we go. And you just watch it like take off like that. And so today, same thing. There's a whole bunch of right-wingers being like, the woke mob has come for Queen, no, blah, blah, blah. And then a couple people were actually like, well, actually, it's on a children's playing device. So they've removed Fat Bottom Girls as one of the potential songs on it. I'm assuming because that one, in terms of things that could be problematic for kids, is front-facing. And they don't want kids to start out early fat-shaming kind of stuff. So maybe that's it, right? Even though it is obviously an ode to people with curvaceous booties, as a holder of the booty myself, and at times, you know, someone who did not always enjoy the fact that I did have a fat bottom boy, I do appreciate the odes, and you know, the song is a bop.
It says, all right, here we go. Yoda says, get ready to rock with one of the greatest bands of all time and a collection of their legendary hits. Remember when you first heard the vocals from Bohemian Rhapsody, stomped along with the beat from We Will Rock You, or felt the groove of Another One Bites the Dust? Yeah, good one. Queen are one of the bands are one of the bands that bring generations together, and now their greatest hits are available for kids to enjoy. The Timeless Collection contains 16 classic tracks to rock out to with over 25 million sales to date. It's one of the biggest selling albums of all time. It's the ideal introduction to the music of Queen for young music lovers. Do they have they don't have I Want to Break Free on here either. Do they not really have that? So that's the thing too. It's like I kind of feel like people are angry over this and it's a non-story. They're saying Fat Bottom Girls was removed, but I Want to Break Free. That's the name of the song, right? Is that what it is? I want to break free. Am I getting that? Am I getting that right? I Want to Break Free. Yeah, they don't have that on here. And this was one that generated some controversy in the United States because the music video was them all in drag. It says no.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. You picked up on that one. I was wondering if he was going to mention it. I can show you. Because now apparently all drag performances are grooming performances, right? You wouldn't be able to do this now. You get canceled so fast by the right. No one loves cancel culture more than the right. Appreciate it, Hate Whiskey.
clean up your room.
Dog 46. Thank you for the tier 1. One of the great queer coded songs, like, you know, Queen are legends for so many aspects, but yes, Freddie Mercury being just an absolute fucking, you know, icon of LGBTQ plus talent and tour de force in every fucking way. Absolutely sensational. I you know, when the Queen movie was getting made, I don't know if everyone knows the story, but apparently Sacha Baron Cohen was originally supposed to be cast as Freddie Mercury, and fuck, he would have done an incredible job. Not that Rami Malek didn't do an awesome job as well, but like I was so excited for that project. And apparently he sat down with the band, and that's where he found out that they wanted to make it like PG or PG-13, and then he was just so taken aback by that. He's like, no, we got to do this right. He's like, I want to tell the whole story. I want to tell stories about how he had like little people with trays on their heads walking around his room with fucking like piles of cocaine, so that it would be at like snort level as they walked by, because he was like such a party animal. He threw the stuff of legends. They were parties like the likes of debauchery, the likes of which like need to be told in its fullest. And it was just like, we kind of want to concentrate on also the post, you know, Freddie Mercury era as well, and how Queen has kind of like stood the test of time as a result of that. And then he backed out of the project. He was just like, nah, don't want to do this. I'd rather be a part of the true story or nothing.
Oh, please note that the lyrics in some...
Oh, I didn't know that. Fragwitz. Roger Taylor was the one who brought up the drag idea. It wasn't Freddie. Huh.
Some of these songs contain adult themes, including occasional references to violence and drugs. These are the original and unedited recordings. Whilst no swear words are used, parental discretion is advised when playing this content to or around younger children. I call this fake news. Okay, let me pop up. What's going on here, Fox? They say legendary rock band Queen's song classic "Fat Bottomed Girls" has become cancel culture's latest victim after the song was dropped from the band's new greatest hits collection. I Want to Break Free isn't on there either. And well, I guess it's fair to say I Want to Break Free didn't do as well in the United States. And I guess the argument was because of the controversial music video, so it didn't get a lot of promotion. All right, let's see. Though moving songs to the platform aims to introduce Queen to kids, some are critical of the decision to omit the song from the track list, blasting the move as woke or ridiculous. It is the talk of the music industry. Nobody can work out why such a good-natured, fun song can't be acceptable in today's society. One professional whose name was withheld told the Daily Mail, "Yo, if you're telling me you don't want little children to hear a song called Fat Bottomed Girls, I got no beef," right? People are joking about WAP.
I guess this comes down to, why do you have a beef ever? Why is it this is okay? This is good cancel culture. This is good revisionism. Yeah. Okay, I guess it's not woke if it's for kids. If it's for kids, then I understand there could be a purpose behind this. Whereas, like, every other time there's a controversy, take Disney, for example. It's like, hey, Disney is going to now add in the front of Peter Pan a disclaimer and only make it available through parental guidance options to say that, yeah, some of the depictions in this cartoon are decidedly racist. Whether or not you want to have a conversation with your children about that is, you know, an option up to you. But, I mean, you know, the racism takes up such a large section of the Peter Pan original cartoon that, like, you know, we're going to delete it in its entirety. But it's up to you, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden the right was like, what? This is cancel culture. Look at that. Disney's going woke again. They're trying to destroy the classics. Like, I don't see any of you complaining about the fact that Songs of the South is never available from Disney, because Disney very fucking, and I would say agreed that this is a yikes. I don't think you should destroy your past, by the way. I mean, how are we to learn how racist Disney used to be if we're to destroy it, right? But for them to acknowledge it, and for most everyday people to acknowledge, yeah, you know, having a former, you know, slave worker singing zippity doo dah, zippity day is kind of yikesy, so we acknowledge that. Or, hey, you know, the way indigenous people are represented in Peter Pan is exceptionally racist. It's like every fucking racist stereotype rolled into one. That's okay for them to acknowledge that. That's not a bad thing if they do such things. And again, if you are all capitalists, shouldn't that be their choice? Like, aren't the publishers of these IPs capable of doing what they want? Like, if Dr. Seuss is like, there's a couple yikesy Dr. Seuss books, you know, so we're just not going to publish those anymore. Well, then, where is your beef? Where does this come from?
Wet ass
pussy. Yeah, true history.
I think even Cardi B said, do I have that story? Cardi B responds to criticism for not allowing her young daughter Culture to listen to WAP. Like, even Cardi B was like, I don't want my kid listening to this. I guess the problem is,
But then who was on the other side of that? Who was like, WAP is both a music video and a song that children should have access to, and that's what we're gonna fight for, because we don't want any kind of censorship.
it's going to play on the radio.
Yeah, it's not for kids. It's not. It's for adults. As an adult, I fucking love that shit. You know, not just wet ass pussy. That's amazing too. But it's the song itself. It's a fucking bop. It's a fun ass song.
It's going to play on social media and YouTube, and kids are going to get access to it. And parents got to step in. Fox News, it's woke gone mad.
Hero 1. Fucking nailed it. The right isn't very big into informed consent. That's it. That's it right there. Yeah.
Wanted to appreciate people of all shapes and sizes like society is saying we should, rather than give it. This is ridiculous to me. Fox News contributor Joe Concha, weighing in on Monday, blasted the omission as utterly ridiculous, telling Fox and Friends First anchors Todd Pierre and Carly Shimkiss the band took chances and pushed the envelope. Okay, I'm going to pull up Fat Bottomed Girls lyrics. Fat Bottomed Girls lyrics. And we'll see what we got on here. Are you going to take me home tonight? Oh, down beside the red firelight, are we going to let it all hang out? Fat bottomed girls, you make the rockin' world go round. I was a skinny lad, never knew good from bad. I got to be honest, it's actually kind of a silly song, right? It's not one of my favorites, to be completely honest with you. Say, let alone with a big fanny. She was such a.
You know, looking at the lyrics now, it's kind of silly. Yeah, I'm not sure what he was thinking when he wrote this one.
Naughty nanny. Heap big woman, you made a bad boy.
He was such a naughty natty. Like, oh, come on, get into it, Tim.
Out of me. I guess, whatever. I kind of feel like I put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead is a bit worse. But, you know, sure, whatever. You definitely have to have Bohemian Rhapsody on any Queen playlist. Maybe the real question.
You got to. And especially after white people have had a certain amount of drinks, it has to be played in the bar. It has to. That and Journey, back to back, and then just on repeat, going back and forth over and over and over again as everyone screams the lyrics and falls over each other, and then hooks up with someone they might regret. Are you gonna take me home tonight? Oh, down by that red firelight. Are you gonna let it all hang out? Fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round. I was just a skinny lad, never knew good from bad, but I knew life before I left my nursery, left alone with the big fat fanny. She was such a naughty nanny. Heap big woman, you made a bad boy out of me. I've been singing with my band across the wire, across the land. I've seen every blue-eyed floozy along the way, but their beauty and their style went kinda smooth after a while. Take me to them dirty ladies every time. Oh, won't you take me home tonight? Oh, down by your red firelight. Oh, you've got it all. You've got fat bottom girls. You make the walking world go home. Now listen here, now I got a mortgage on homes, I got no stiffness in my bones, ain't no beauty queens in this locality, I tell you, but I still get my pleasure, still got my greatest treasure, heap big one, you got a big man out of me. That's the lyrics to the song. They didn't want kids to hear it, but that's the story.
Question is, adult theme music, okay, I guess, I mean.
My bigger question would be, why is this okay if you're like, oh, well, this is because we feel this would be inappropriate for children. And then in some cases, like, well, these companies feel it would be inappropriate to profit off these things, period. Right? Like, if they're like, hey, we're not going to publish the racist Dr. Seuss books because we feel kind of yikesy about profiting off the racist Dr. Seuss books. And in that case, that's cancel culture 1984 or Greg Oren. But in this case, if it's for the children, well, now Tim Pool's like, this is a non-starter. This one's actually kind of okay. I support this. I am for this form of censorship.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe some of these things aren't entirely appropriate. New to Yodo for 6 to 8 year olds. Queen's greatest hits. Really? What do they? They say 6 to 14. I guess. I don't know. I don't know, man. Look, it's an honest question. You guys should comment below. Let's take a Don't Stop Me Now. Let's pull up there. I love Don't Stop Me Now. And I always joke that, like, you know, in hindsight, perhaps someone should have stopped Freddie Mercury.
Ouch.
And I know I said that on Timcast. A bunch of people laughed. Like, the people here started laughing, and I was like,
oh, yeah, of course they would. Yeah, they should have stopped him. It's pretty wild how he got taken down by AIDS.
It's kind of not meant to be funny, man. Like, Queen was awesome, and Freddie Mercury was out of control. Dude needed to be stopped. Like, dude, hey, make music, man. You're really, really good at it. Yeah.
He did. He made a solo album. He was still producing music. He was still actually performing at a level that is now seen in hindsight as absolutely astonishing, considering what he was going through at the time.
Don't Stop Me Now is totally fine. I'm burning through the sky, 200 degrees, so they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. There's nothing really crazy in there. You're My Best Friend is awesome. Bicycle, that's a really great one. I think Killer Queen might be a little bad, right? Dynamite with a laser beam. Maybe it's not so bad. I mean, a lot of this is kind of silly. Gunpowder, gelatine, dynamite with a laser beam, guaranteed to blow your mind anytime. I mean, you know, some of the themes here went down to Geisha Minor, then accident, blah, 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 blah.
Him such a Puritan. You know what's also wild is like he is so soft when it comes to music, right? Like he got so upset at fucking Sam Cedar saying like making up a conspiracy theory that they were like improperly filtering his songs to make it sound shittier and stuff like that, which obviously they could do. In fact, I did it in real time to show all of you. I was like, hey, I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna fucking filter one of his songs to make it sound even worse. But that doesn't make your song good in hindsight. It doesn't mean that your song's about fucking cancel culture and the woke mobs and shit like that and how the media manipulates you, aka the fake news and all that kind of stuff are good songs.
Perfume Can Naturally Come. It was not that bad. You know, I don't know. I don't know if kids would be listening to this stuff. You're My Best Friend is really good. Crazy Little Thing Called Love. That's fantastic. Somebody to love.
So this one did not pass the beanie smell test. Impressive. 1 for 7,000. Same with Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh, I regret to inform you that They Cancelled Queen story is just a boomer bait Fox News fake controversy. All they did was leave fat bottom girls off an audio platform specifically designed for young children. Seems like a reasonable decision. Nobody has been cancelled. Why is it that not the thing, but another thing, you know, if publisher is like no more racist thing, you're like, ah, that's cancel culture. But they're like, that's not appropriate though. And then it's like, hey, this is inappropriate for children. You're like, oh, well, I guess that, okay, this one's not. This one didn't make it. I don't really want my 6-year-old going on about singing about fat bottom girls. Does anyone? Well, yeah, when it comes to the Peter Pan controversy, if I had a 6-year-old, I wouldn't want them going off about how they, quote, red man is drunk and that's what makes him red. That to me would be incredibly fucking distasteful, racist, and offensive. So yeah, it makes sense if they want to add a parental warning before that film now, saying, hey, this film actually has very racist stereotypes in it. By the way, this is literally a song about nanny molesting a minor. Again, I'm not sure why conservatives are panicking that the song won't be on the platform for kids. We're really making ourselves look foolish on this one, guys. For the first time, y'all look foolish. First time ever. Yeah. It's not as if you're fucking losing your shit over fucking M&M's not being fuckable and other weird ass shit like that on a regular basis. You wake up and it's like, hey, did you know that apparently the right, they're really populist now. They're actually speaking to the concerns of the working class. And you're like, oh, interesting. What do we have here? Lego's gone woke. Skittles has released an all-white Skittle. Yeah. What the fuck's that all about? That sounds like something y'all would like. Well, no, but it's not in support of white rights. It's because they're removing the rainbow to support gay rights. We hate that. Oh, okay. Why? How does this affect your day-to-day? Like, is your life legitimately ruined? Like when you're like, okay, first off, not a lot of you shop for your own groceries. We know this. You say the most ridiculous things when it comes to shopping. You're actually doing the fucking the meme all the time, the fucking Arrested Development meme. I digress. Like if you walk past the candy aisle and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, pray tell, what's this? Oh my, Skittles. Skittles used to be all the colors of the rainbow. That was their slogan. Suddenly the Skittles are all white. They taste the exact same. Well, yeah, sure. But erasure. What is going on here? This is wild to me. It says they're supporting LGBTQ plus rights. Oh, no. We must cancel this all. Here are the lyrics, pretty sure this is what the song is about, not exactly subtle. By the way, this is the shit that fucking the right loves. This is the shit that you absolutely adore. I thought this was like, this is the Dream Maker style stuff. Like, hey, no, it's not pedophilia when it happens to be a fucking a young boy. When it's a young, hey, we were all young once, right? We all know what that's about. We've all lived through that, so we know what we're talking about. I made a meme about that because it's happening so far with Gutfeld. Here we are. Reappropriated this meme because this was the post that Gutfeld was talking about. Former California Teacher of the Year, by the way, New York Post, vomit. Teacher of the Year busted for sex with 16-year-old student. Why would they do that to a dream maker? I mean, was she hot? Nice. Yeah, nice. It's like, well, no, that's still raping a teenager. That's still you can't consent if you're a minor. It's the same thing. I mean, if these things were reversed, you'd be like, this monster needs to be locked up, right? Totally. But most likely it's a Republican, so I won't be too quick on that one, unfortunately. Yeah, it seems like a lot of the groomers and the pedophiles turn out to be right-wingers, GOP politicians or activists or police officers. They're doing it a lot too, so that's the whole thing. But it is weird how you guys flip that, right? How at one point it's like, oh, okay, well, every single person who's LGBTQ plus is a groomer and a pedophile. Why? Because they wore a wig and read a children's story. That's grooming. That's what grooming is. And it's like, no, this is what grooming is. This is grooming. This is someone doing grooming right here. Yeah. Last thing. This is Yoda Player. It's made for kids, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so Matt Walsh, Tim Pool. We're not fooled by this latest culture war exercise by the right. Other people have been, and Fox News is running full steam ahead on this. But, you know, this is the extent of the story, so... yeah, speaking of wokeness, here's the data on wokeness.
This video was brought to you by Brilliant. Disney is struggling right now. Their share price continues to fall, about 20% in the last year, and Disney Plus is continuing to bleed out hundreds of millions of dollars each.
Because they went woke. This is what happens. We told you. You go woke, this will happen to you.
Each and every quarter. But why? Well, according to you, the reason for all of this suffering is that Disney got woke. No, really. Last week, we released a video explaining that essentially all of Disney's business units were underperforming to one level or another. I told you that their TV business was suffering as a result of falling ad sales and cord cutting. Their movies were failing to pull in audiences in movie theaters. Their streaming service was hemorrhaging capital and burning out audiences. And their parks, while profitable, were living on borrowed time. It seems, though, that many of you had another fifth reason in mind for why Disney was struggling, with literally...
That sucks. That's too bad. That's your own fucking audience. It seems a lot of you were quite concerned about this go woke, go broke, and to be honest, we need to speak about this rather rapidly now.
Hundreds of you suggesting that the real reason Disney was suffering was because they'd gone woke. And this is a popular theory on the internet at the moment. The idea that corporations going woke is turning off customers and resulting in declining profitability. For instance, we've seen companies like Bud Light, who, after working with trans influencer Dylan Mulvaney, were punished for their progressive marketing practices. With the
Not by Kid Rock, though.
brand falling from the top spot in the US beer market, and their owner, AB InBev, suffering from a stock price slump after just one Instagram post.
Well, yeah, it's almost like the entire right-wing pundit class is making an incredibly huge deal out of nothing to distract people. I mean, you know, leftists might call it false consciousness being spread to make sure that people are distracted from the actual people in power that might be causing a lot of their problems, you know, like their bosses, the owning class, like that. That could be a reason why, and just continuously keep them scared of the gays because it works and it sells and it makes them more money in turn. So just keep everyone really afraid. One day, ooh, yeah, that trans beer, it's coming for you. One sip, that's all it takes.
Is the same thing really happening in the media?
Yeah, TLDR gets a relatively wide spectrum of viewers. I completely agree with that. It's just funny that they had to pull up the fact that, like, you just like, oh, well, parts of our audience thought it was woke. And it's like, well, that's the right-wing part of your audience, right? Because you do have broad appeal to a multitude of different people.
Well, we ran the maths. We surveyed thousands of TLDR viewers from across the political spectrum to find the most woke movies, and then discover if this quote-unquote wokeness is really damaging their performance, both critically and financially. So let's run through the maths on go woke, go broke once and for all. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and aren't doing all that well at the moment. In the last year, Disney released Strange World, The Little Mermaid, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and The Haunted Mansion in.
Indiana Jones still blows my mind. And like, I just, wow. To be able to talk to someone and be like, hey, did you know there's a new Indiana Jones? And be like, oh, that's wild. It's going to be like, what is it, coming out in like a couple of years? Are they bringing back Shia LaBeouf? Probably not, right? And I'm like, oh, no. It's out. Oh, the trailer's out. Oh, wow. I can't believe they, yeah, okay. So it's like, no. The movie's out. It's in, what? There's an Indiana Jones movie with Harrison Ford. Yeah, with Mitt Harrison Ford. And I was like, oh, wow. I can't believe I did. Wow, all right.
Theaters. And literally all of these movies underperformed, with Strange World actually losing money at the box office, The Little Mermaid making a more modest profit than Disney had hoped for, especially when you account for additional marketing costs,
Storma, you're not
Indiana
wrong.
Jones also performing versus expectations, and The Haunted Mansion off to a pretty rough start in its opening weekend. Simultaneously, releases from Pixar like Lightyear and Elemental have also massively underperformed.
By the way, I want to just throw in here, because I don't know if they're going to talk about this, but I think there's going to be something to be said about the fact that audiences are decidedly finally fucking burning out on the fucking deluge of box office hits. Like, just this repeated format where it's like, has to be a remake or a reboot or a sequel. Those are the only three that we can trust. Because again, it's going to cost us so much money to get this movie into theaters. And once we do, effectively, it has to make us so much money back. Because we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars, in some case, $500 million on these movies. They got to make tons and tons of money. And then obviously we have to open them up to other markets. And that requires us to have certain things to meet the conditions of the Chinese market as well. So there's probably going to be a character who's Chinese, or they're going to take a, an adventure to a part of China or Hong Kong or something like that. Like, it's over and over and over. I think eventually, like, people finally, and I'm so happy for this, because I'd been sick of it a long time ago, when people are finally like, I don't know if I need to see Ant-Man 3 and the multiverse of cumfuckery, like, I don't even really care. Like, every other movie is a fucking multiverse film these days, and it's like, but it's so clever, isn't it? Because that could be how all of reality works. We could ourselves be in, yes, and I believe in multiverse theory. I think it's awesome. I think that there are, trillions of different Lances who have very different trajectories than I do, including a lot of Lances who might not even exist right now. They're probably just dead Lances in other multiverses. Fine, but it doesn't need to be like, the basis for every single fucking superhero film now, right? I mean, maybe The Flash thought that they were going to be clever if they'd done what they'd done, and it was released fucking when it was supposed to, like, years prior, before, like, every fucking Marvel film is about multiverse, and it's like, hey, look, this the multiverse of madness, and then look, Spider-Man's in the multiverse now too, and then this other multiverse, there's a fifth one.
Lightyear barely made back its budget, even without marketing costs, and Elemental also fell far short of expectations. The powerhouse that is Marvel has also struggled more than usual. Black Panther and Guardians are certainly bright spots for the studio, both raking in nearly $1 billion, but Ant-Man struggled to make back much more than its budget. Now, the accusation here is that moviegoers are just avoiding these movies because they have woke themes. That's things like Disney's first major LGBTQ+ character in Strange World, the brief queer kiss in Lightyear, and the so-called race swapping that took place in The Little Mermaid. Proponents of this theory argue that things like this are putting off families and conservatives who object to these kinds of progressive and liberal messages. The thing is, what is woke? Well, it's traditionally been defined as someone who's alert and concerned about social injustice and discrimination. But to determine how this actually applies to cinema, we scoured Reddit and Quora conversations to find the most frequently cited reasons for wokeness. And from this, we put together a list of factors which could be accused of making a movie woke.
Wow. Can't believe they had to do data on this, because, like, the answer is usually just it's racism. It's usually fucking a whole bunch of fucking, neckbeards on the internet being racist as fuck.
With this in hand, we put out a survey where we asked thousands of TLDR viewers if they thought these features really made a movie more woke. And having crunched this data, there are 7 things which make a movie more woke. And they are the discussion of trans issues, male privilege and white privilege, race swapping and gender swapping, and the discussion of issues related to sexual orientation and toxic masculinity.
I guess, yeah, you kind of nailed it. This is the Quarterings channel to a T.
Although, if you filter for just
if like any of these are like fucking in the film on any degree, even if it's like a slight mention, it's like, yeah, woke.
those who self-identify as right-wing, that order does change a little. So, with these factors in mind, and with a slightly clearer definition of what makes cinema woke, which movies are actually the wokest? And does Disney really produce most of them? Well, to find out, we pulled together a list of the 60 most recent releases from Disney Studios, as well as from Universal, Warner Brothers, and the Mouse's animation rivals over at DreamWorks. A list of movies which looks like this. Now, to assess their perceived wokeness, we asked survey respondents to tell us how woke they thought these movies really were, allowing them to also skip movies that they weren't familiar enough with to make a true judgment. Now, using these numbers and using this equation more specifically, we created the TLDR Wokeness Index. It's not really a trademark, it just looks more fun that way. This index, which produces scores between positive and negative 200, gives us an indication of how woke each movie is determined to be by the thousands of people who took this survey. The question being, which are the wokest movies on the list? Well, the top 10, according to you, are Turning Red, Mulan, Strange World, Lightyear, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Black Panther 2, The Rise of Skywalker, The Last Jedi, Barbie, and The Little Mermaid.
Oh no, you're about to get your asses handed to you.
On the other end of the spectrum, though, movies like Spider-Man No Way Home, the Super Mario movie, Cocaine Bear, Puss in Boots, The Last...
Excuse me, the Super Mario movie had a drag performance. Doesn't get woker than that. And girl boss platitudes.
Last Wish and Oppenheimer make up the bottom of our...
Oppenheimer? It's the wokest movie of the year. Come on. It said that Nazis are the bad guys. Nazis bad. Doesn't get more woke than that.
list. All in all, our survey respondents placed all of the movies in this order. From this, we can now determine if Disney Studios did produce most of these woke movies, as the
Cocaine Bear was
woke,
definitely not woke. I didn't even think that one would be suggested.
So if we take a look at the studios behind these movies, we can see that Disney does seem to fall at the upper end more frequently, with movies produced by Disney getting an average wokeness index of 9.6. Star Wars getting a 1.1, and then Warner Brothers picking up a negative 15.08. According to our voters, Universal is the least woke studio surveyed, with a wokeness index of negative 42.4.
Well, it's not only that Disney produces way more movies, it's that they release a lot of major motion pictures for theatrical release. That's a very different thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're a powerhouse. They're also releasing fucking shit tons. I mean, they are the #1 fucking, I think, media empire in the world. So they are releasing a lot of streaming movies as well. But like, this is what you get with fucking dominated monopoly capitalism. What a surprise. The fucking, the #1 fucking production studio in the world is producing the most amount of films. And of the most amount of films, there's going to be a lot of them that the fucking chuds of the world are like, well, that's woke. Oh, that's woke. It's got a black person woke.
So it seems our audience do broadly agree with the idea that Disney's movies are the wokest out of the studios surveyed. But does this really explain their recent decline in box office results? As I said in the intro, Disney certainly has struggled in the box office recently, seeing more than a few movies coming in under expectations. So let's see whether this has anything to do with wokeness. Let me introduce you to our scatter charts. On this one, the x-axis shows the perceived wokeness of the movies, while the y-axis shows the average ranking the movie got on Rotten Tomatoes. And these data points now show us that while the highest rated movies do tend to be on the less woke end of the spectrum, there's very little correlation between the wokeness of a film and its overall quality according to critics and audiences. Now, there is a slight downward trend here, but with an R-squared value of 0.03, it's an incredibly weak correlation that falls way below the standard needed to be statistically significant. Now, if we adjust this...
Yeah, but Jacques, that's not just on the fault of TLDR. I mean, like, you know, the right has completely taken the original term woke from AAV and then transferred it directly into thing I don't like. Right, and thing I don't like for them is, yes, oftentimes black person, but now it's come to include anything they don't like. It includes, is it queer? Is it LGBTQ+? Does it prominently show a woman who is not just a sex object on screen? Well, that's woke. It's gone woke then.
Chart a little and only look at audience scores, that is to ignore the critics, the trend does become slightly clearer at 0.072, but it's still not a statistically significant enough trend to draw any real conclusions from. So at least according to our wokeness index, there's essentially...
Yeah, I don't understand this right away. Why are you doing this? Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, this is all the same company.
No correlation between the wokeness score and how much audiences and critics like movies. And while audiences do seem very slightly less keen on woke movies, that this could be attributed to people review bombing movies that they haven't even seen. And regardless, the data is truly not statistically significant enough to really draw a correlation from. But what about money? After all, the claim is go woke, go broke, not go woke, get poor Rotten Tomatoes scores. Well, this time, let's change the y-axis to show how much money each movie made at the box office, ignoring for the moment the money that they made through other sources like streaming. Here though, the data is even weaker. According to our statistical analysis, there's quite literally no correlation here. The trend line is basically dead straight, and with an R-squared value of 0, the lowest possible score, we're safe to say that there's no correlation at all. Now, to be fair, while the Disney movies do appear disproportionately frequently on the right-hand side of this chart, that is to say, the woker side, they're also spread all over the financial spectrum, from The Force Awakens at the top to Strange Worlds, Mulan, and Turning Red towards the bottom. Also, to be fair to Disney, a lot of these more woke Disney productions do also earn a lot more money than the less woke movies released by other studios. Now, it's worth noting that when you filter these results to only include those who identify themselves on the political right, this does shift. Not only do they, perhaps unsurprisingly, rank more movies as woke, they do also shift the trend line downwards a little. Although with an R-squared value of 0.03, it's by no means statistically significant. So does this prove that the idea of go woke, go broke is untrue? Well, I definitely wouldn't make that argument. Our survey and data are relatively rudimental, and our analysis is limited by the constraints of this.
This is all nonsense as well. I mean, you have to acknowledge that, right? We're talking about something that is just on its surface subjective. If anyone is going to be like, well, this is how I define wokeness, and then you try to quantify that by adding all the things in which people define a film as wokeness for the purposes of making the study. I understand that point, but like ultimately, what are we talking about here?
Video. However, from the data we have, it does seem that any strong correlation between movie studios going woke and losing money seems pretty unfounded. So if that's true, then what's really going on at Disney? The first and most obvious problem when it comes to Disney's movies isn't wokeness. It's just plain bad storytelling. Disney has demonstrated a remarkable lack of creativity in recent years, which has certainly
Oh, no question. Every single one of these fucking live action remakes, one after the other, they're all just the same fucking formula run into the fucking ground. Like, YMS does really, really good teardowns of a lot of these films because he'll just be like, he'll point out, this is why the original is beloved. Why did you think that you could just like copy and paste so many elements into this like live action remake and then like just people will accept it because the parents will have enough nostalgia. We got that built in, so every single, you know, mommy and daddy is going to want to take their kids to go see Aladdin so they can sing along to the songs they all know and love. But there's going to be some new songs and some new elements, and the songs they love actually aren't going to really apply to the things that are happening on screen, even to such a point where the very words that come out of their mouths don't make any sense if you don't add context to them, right? Like the song Ursula sings in Poor Unfortunate Souls, because Melissa McCarthy is not as you know, adept a singer, they had to pitch the tone of the actual song to a different key, as well as the fact that like there's this point in the song, the original cartoon, where she sings and she's not talking to Ariel, she's talking to the two I forget what creature, the electric eels, and then she turns to them on the side and it's like, pathetic. But because those creatures aren't in the song in the live action remake, she just says it out loud to Ariel. So she's like, you know, they must have seen that in quite a witch. Pathetic. And she's like staring at her in the face and like, are you just telling Ariel that you're going to scam her or rip her off or like this is a bad deal? Because it doesn't make sense without the context, right? It made a lot of sense when she's singing that off to the side and says that, but yeah, flotsam and jetsam. But if you just translate the song verbatim and you don't include the flotsam and jetsam being spoken to, she's saying it out loud to Ariel. Like that's so weird. Did you not pick up on that? Like you have fucking hundreds of millions of dollars into this. Did no one along the way recognize that that's the reason the word pathetic is in the song? You know, little things like that.
Blunted the impact of their movies and storytelling. When people are constantly offered fresh and unique approaches, not just by other movie studios, but also by social media and streaming, it's understandable that people might not head out to the movie theater to see a rehashed Little Mermaid, regardless of who's cast in the lead role. Bad marketing is clearly also an issue here too. Movies like Elemental and Strange Worlds suffered not
God, we didn't need, oh, this is such a waste of time. Like we didn't need all this to, yes, of course, obviously, anyone who actually looks at this from, again, like a material analysis or even like a corporate standpoint, it has nothing to do with the fact that, oh, Disney is now going woke. Like the biggest fucking box office sensation of the year, Barbie, the movie that Ben Shapiro said is going to fucking plummet after the first week. He's like, I'm going to make a prediction. This is totally going to happen. It's going to like make a lot of money the first week and then it's just going to disappear. Wrong. No, fucking $1 billion internationally, fucking, you know, movie phenomenal, blah blah. And you know, ironically, that film isn't even the woke Trojan horse that they're all trying to pretend that it is. I mean, that film, in terms of its like advocacy for feminism, really comes from like the white liberal feminist perspective. That's what that movie does, right? The commodified white liberal feminist activism is what that film is actually really pushing as far as its messaging. But even that notwithstanding, it's also funny and fun, which is probably why a lot of people are so excited to see and keep seeing it on a repeated basis.
necessarily because they were woke, but because they were massively underpromoted. In fact, we know that Strange Worlds had its budget slashed in order to promote other Disney properties, like the broadly successful Black Panther. So this total lack of awareness might have more to do with its failure than the fact that one of its characters happens to be gay. And even if movie studios do make good movies and market them well, we're just seeing structural decline in the industry. The latest entries in the Mission Impossible.
Well, yeah, because again, I think people have finally become fed up with this. I think people, like, yes, everyone loves the box office sensation, eating popcorn, laughing in the movie theater. It's like, oh, the silver screen, all that kind of stuff. But what are the options anymore? There's so little risk because financially, you can't. You can't have these wide releases that need to make an X amount of dollars always happening and then expect audiences to, like, fucking keep turning out, oh, what do we got here? Ant-Man 12, exciting, you know, I can't wait to see what happens.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This show is produced by amazing people like you, and if you want to help us out, please consider donating over at patreon.com/theserfs. The show is made possible thanks to Amazing Fletch, Anna Loves Riley, Ariane McCarthy, Cheryl Alvarez, Doug Cady, Everything Important, Hagbard Celine, Laminia Panza, Matthew Scarborough, Multimondi, Omni, Peanut Butter Blondie, Political Pappy, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Ruby K, Sir Nickus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Demo, Tech Tink, Trevbot EXE, Words Greenwood, and not to mention all of the amazing and fabulous people you now see before you.